Wamangene Babina Sande. Wamangene Babina Sande. Wamangene Babina Sande. What can I say? What carry I want?
Well, I think that's what I'm saying. And yet, market to okay, so baby, so I'm saying.
So not too was 14.
Okay, so 6 minutes after 5 minutes. 94.7 Franco Enterprise and Kyle say, and they open Nokia, Samsung, iPhone, smart TVs ranging from 32 to 100 inches. Franco air conditioners ranging from 1.5 horsepower, a couple of 2.5. Brahona be paid to washing machine, CCTV cameras in Nano, Ubenya Biato, Franco trading. From one numbers is 0246 422 and 055 5939 311. Now what Timini one ending it still phone Papa V and Franco trading. Regnant Properties in Sweden share Guacum and Investment Limited say pass us out to a mouse be no yama 25% discount. Precope now omunu dija nessa. Oba a year Horizon Gardens go more potting off a year Accra Winneba Quantum Ponaso, who on one Groove Cotton so go more Craman. And also a year Accra Winneba Quantum Ponaso, just 5 minutes drive now for the main road. So Bay Villa so a Utu Breku, and also Accra Winneba Quantum Ponaso, Anafi, one was also Dodua, Amasaman, and Ashalaja, and also very much available. The hotel plan I am Jiri say, Imudu Dona, Yen to say a year papa, a ye pa, enti. A hotel plan the same way nipa be edu mukaboma, and Amuburi do mukaboma, Busumi Biano. Mutia a year 150 a year 500 Ghana cedi 500 Ghana cedi sharing so 500 Ghana cedi na afi what you kakra when about what you assassinate can we in sorry near kuku out to for near buy Juma for we very good news for you and what is all car be all good condition as well. Regnant Properties and Investment Limited semen cow say what the bape on be the hujuma ede amount the NTS or 2 say utia ayo hamunchimu aye eduasa 30% or the tope no shall see you die nafi sa bia ho bia omudo beko bia so ya chichim kama one is a free side plan and indenture what you usikan ewino ana ukuada enemy mende bia no so no one do one chere one side to 8 a.m. opeso ka ho air free one echo ediaba. Regnant Properties ewo kaswa akweli otra one new market na pepepe na odroa enisa free one was 0549 0549 5445 10 and 0540 461276 and 0537 711617. Mami acknowledge ure ya say the obo am say me twi no emu ebe page me one of the twi book ni breme o se kasa ne amamre safo asante twi Ghanaian language and culture inti abrantia otwore o de breme dwamna menu Richmond. It was a teacher named my papa or Dramna Menu Richmond had a secondary education at WBM Zion Secondary School. It's a school and as well Tafo Eastern Region Assembly. He later obtained teacher certificate A 3-year post-secondary education at Kibi Presbyterian Training College. On one natural casa any amamre safwa or the bread making come was a casa bibliwa kawa because you mean him there was also an old one like he's currently teaching at the University of Ghana Basic School Legon. He's done well obi opeso maintaining when he ngomano akankasa no jabe timi na kasa 0248 112162 and 0266 410969 on me dikita or the book be abreme kasane amamre safo asante twi and the Richmond Dramna menu medase I have it now the working class uti o se the on pe currency e kasane di brofo no abe wo form na Let you Makwaba.
And your friends. And
then there's a number of and one neighbor. I mean, I don't want to know what Cassan and Robert.
The other one is here, Dr. Frank Ban was a development economist and head of research, Dankwa Institute, and Atik Mohammed is what executive director, Mass Action for Sustainable Development in Africa, Mazda. Obikabian Makaya Ka Mazda.
And it's with Z.
Murumo don't action as well, South Africa.
Malema, yeah.
No. No, this is not a political group.
It's a pressure group. It's a pressure group, is that correct?
Only masses are because of the word mass.
It's a pressure group.
It's a CSO. What is pressure group?
Pressure.
No, what is a pressure group?
It's a CSO.
Maybe sir, what is a pressure? It doesn't mean pressure. What is a pressure group?
Now, some question. No problem.
Because before we proceed to say be a pressure group, it is because of a certain understanding. Mr. Wadaruma.
We never see. Pressure group.
Well, civil society organization.
No, how to say? No, it's yes. What a jay. Don't try man. Only man munanti.
No. What? Now the man no same common.
On examples that Mazda will have your impact on one. Educate. Yeah, we
work on a number of themes. One is sustainable development, good economic governance, good governance, and then we also look at issues of youth and women empowerment. These are the major themes we work on.
Okay.
But we work more on sustainable development and economic governance, But of course, there are, like I said, the other two themes we work on. But much of our work is focused on
advocacy, sir.
Man, be some CSO for what you are saying. Of course, CSOs mainly focus on research and advocacy. So, advocacy can home, and then we also do research.
Advocacy can
no, CSOs. Yeah, okay, maybe you civil society.
Como se acaba mais on combat.
On set me kwabana asem no bi se na. What civil society na say do register what so me.
What you know now?
And some mobile bonta so bia on specific area.
Into a trust specific sustainable development.
Advocacy account one.
But how can you be a civil society organization? Research is sabi Mr. Emeka. Who we are there?
That's a research one man. I'm out for research here.
Oh, dear.
The shells as a inquiry.
They are not CSOs. Civil society has it training saying.
No, you see Mazda.
You see, a greater part of what CSOs do is civil advocacy.
Okay.
And your advocacy must be founded on some research.
Okay.
What you can't just if I want to talk about sustainable development, let me even Nansanya lithium once. I want to talk about critical or green minerals.
So Nansanya lithium was some kind. Then I'm cover lithium. When I'm saying lithium,
come now. I'll send you some of the briefs are here.
Briefs, no. That Ghana, you discover another.
Okay. Okay. You see, when we had the government had gone into some agreement or had given a lease to a certain company, and say, look, don't treat green or critical minerals like we treated gold and diamonds, because the tragic story is not what we want to repeat. And if the green transition, if it takes full effect, oil na yinyano and oil na yewono any ehun faso a yinyano, we might not be getting the same amount of revenue from oil proceeds beam and from your oil ni beam. So let's treat the future, which is critical or green minerals. Let's treat it like the way we treated oil when we first discovered oil. And say to make sure say umfaso benye free honum no that makra benya umfaso. So our argument was that look, the agreement in the form as it was then, no, there were a lot of issues that needed to be dealt with. Where tree program, I mean, country, I said, and say, for example, government has some, free carried interest in every mineral operations, and the law also allows you to get some more interest and so on and so forth. But say, this agreement says we'll be getting 13%, but that 13% is not founded in any law. The law says 10%, but you can negotiate for more. What that means is that one fine shem more, and then I would negotiate 3 more percent. In future, there might be a mining company or say, look, if you want the 3%, pay for it. And omudibim, because the law does not say chinchina is on more 3%. What the law says is that we can have 10%, and they are free. But any other AE has to be negotiated. And if the negotiation results in the company saying, say, 3% more free, you have to pay for it. And the argument was that you would end up having different lease agreements with different companies. But this is the future for Ghana. And your country behind a war lithium. What is here? And EVs are here, electric vehicles and so on. Lithium batteries no use. So, and the demand for it has quadrupled over the period. And if you look at projections, we are going to be having more demand for it, even though recently there was a decline in the demand for it. But generally speaking, and averagely speaking, we share the projections now. In the near future, the demand for it is going to be very high. And to DNSA to make sure that the stories of gold, any diamond, you repeat it. So we need to have a new and a more comprehensive fiscal and regulatory regime.
So, but also,
absolutely.
About a commentary, Minister Minerals Commission running on this lithium. No?
Go ahead. Then I disagree with them on many of the issues.
One of the best contracts in terms of the mass science. It is near to the benefit of Ghanaians.
Why is it the best? You see, and I made this point there. They said, for the first time, royalty rate, Omar. But that's a fallacy because we amended the Minerals and Mining Act that allows the minister to set the royalty rate. But what you can do and say, you go to Parliament with an ally to revise, the form of regulations. You can come with regulations through an ally to indicate how much are able to me by way of your royalty. First, it used to be a range between 3 and not less than 5%. Later, you had to share 5% chinchina. And in 2010, we revised it. And I think it was 2015 or 2010. I need to check.
No, 2010 was for it.
Yeah, so it was 2015, we amended it. And Yeka said, look, we cannot continue to have the 5% until let's give the power to the minister to determine the royalty rate. But we went ahead in that same act, in the revised action, to say, obetimi the ally obetimi the regulations are through an ally to indicate how much. What you say? We have not done that until it's still the 5%. Until if he says that this is the best, it is because the minister has refused. Since the amending law, no minister has decided to set the royalty rate beyond 5%. Man more going to set it beyond 5%, but when you and you come and say, "Oh, this is about the best," because you had the chance to do it, and I win. And when it comes to lithium, you say, "Okay, let me do that, which I ought to have done a long time ago." And he says, "Oh, this is about the best." And I'm saying, "Say, then avoid the case where you would have different lease agreements with different companies, and no, investor bar on himself. This is the rate. I say." And the free carried interest, so say you're paying 13% now. I'm not saying that is the ideal, but Sagana for you 13% per. Make it 13%. But the current law says is 10%. You can negotiate for more. And negotiate. So if Sabi Unya Minister Bia the negotiation skills and Shadanya strong, he might not get the 13%. Mika and but say future people would say you decline your 13% to us. And I'm saying it's not founded in any law.
Okay, so you remember some come over so at least I've catch and say Abaka said Debbie. No,
can you press okay?
What the reasonable pressure to system through education and advocacy. So there should be very good
and just to add to this, very soon we are having a public forum. We're having a public forum on
draw attention because you have
the intention is actually to do it in partnership with us in part so that the Benya live coverage we want to have a public forum on Ghana for the difference between lithium and gold and diamond. Say, this is an minerals. But the demand for one is higher and one is the future. What is here? Into the conversation around lithium and other green minerals, even bauxite is one of the critical minerals. What is here? We need to have look. Unim says here, you can't Ghana minerals, bauxite and tambo. What is here? But this is one of the critical or green minerals. Essay you can want them. Until talk about lithium. Do you Unim say Ghana cry? We have some deposits of uranium. Unim say. And it's sad when you go to they call them the lithium triangle. You go to Argentina, what are these other two countries? Omono, what they have done is say, if you in Argentina, for example, before 1979, if you had a concession to mine lithium, you jaw until the expiration of sa lease period. No, but beyond that, strategically, almost your is in Mobia to mine lithium, because as far back as the 70s, Omu said, look, this is the future. And to my question, are they in a year pre to the extent that they made it look as if they are signing deal deal be
better than that.
What is here? Then why the rush?
Dr. Banham, I was on come on another time because research we bring Ghana for idea we don't implement what really the research is about. Sometimes I was into all these researcher my specific actions to take.
Yeah.
They said your all cases here. We now a group of people are very deeper research into the benefits a country can derive from these greens, but we will not acquire several for. So, for instance, with President Mahama,
Motorbike,
we need to talk about it.
Okada motorbike.
Yeah.
Do you have enough electricity?
For charging, no.
You see. You see, every policy is like a cycle, and when you take every leg of the cycle, no, there are numerous you discuss. In the first place, before you come up with a policy, there has to be some needs, some demands by the population, and informing government's decision to come up with a policy. Let me use LEAP for example. You say when people are aged, there is no support system for them.
We have to empower them.
Exactly. So how do you do it? Then you think of a policy that would empower them financially. So you come up with an idea like LEAP. What you say is because there's a certain need or demand. That is what informs the political class to come up with an idea which eventually will become the policy. Okada phones me, and is it? I remember I used to have a lecture when he's discussing public policy. He will tell you the demands and the supports, because enuna that goes into the black box, and the political box, where then your first supports need demands now, then we come up with something in the form of a policy. So in the first instance, what are the building blocks that our policy would be anchored on? First, you need stable electricity supply. Because once it's electric bikes there, it means
charging.
You would require electricity. What is our electricity situation in this country? That is one. Two, what was it? We have a problem with transportation. And this, in his view, is a solution to the transportation problem.
Amongst some of the solutions.
Yes, it's one of them. Now, BRT, Yantimanya, Okada Nebebuaye. When you go to the UK, I've lived in the UK for some time. Look, Governor, when you are in the UK, you have no need for a car. I never contemplated having a car. Because baby, I could be a mini bus. Mini bus, a mini train. And bad time no this pepe. That is the kind of arrangements we need. Because what kind of way they carry people. And yet deliveries in Guanamia a source of transportation, and is a means of transportation. And instead of looking at the bigger problem and finding more innovative solutions, as you, Yema, do you know the nuisance Okada causes in this country?
A lot of people are getting into it as a business, as
no,
commercial business.
Because we have allowed it. But do you know the nuisance it occasions to road users? Only because of Okada. And you have Sabi Obia who wants to become a president thinking, say, oh, let's consolidate this nuisance.
Regulating the front of Okada.
How are you regulating Okada? He's saying, say, instead of using fuel-powered motorbikes, then using electric bikes. He said, how do you regulate Okada for? You can't regulate them. What I say? And beyond the nuisance, the question I'm asking is, problem being Okada is seeking to solve, and like I told you, is transportation. And of all the options to deal with the problem of transportation, Okada is what we're thinking about. We tried doing BRT. I think it started on the NDC. Ekosiisen.
Okay.
And so we are unable. You see, the solution exists, but and now we are talking about something that would place a drag on our already scanty electricity supply. Electricity was a masa minim so ufie de if yam light light na what must here and as okay say Okada of way they are in hundreds of thousands. Imagine they are also going to be a drag now on our electricity. What do you think is going to happen? I am all for the transition, the green transition, whereby we lower the use of cars that emit CO2 and so on. But for you to be able to do some of these things, you need to prepare. Make sure you have enough electricity supply. And we are importing this as a solution. Now, what is going to happen is that there's going to be more stress on the national grid. That is one, worsening our electricity problems. Our friend is going. Look, it's going to be chaotic because it now becomes formal. It's official. And the chaos you can't imagine.
Dr. Bano,
Minia,
you're into research.
Yes.
Now, it's not a laudable idea.
You me say Minia man. Me say Minia take a can say many paper. Now me dey me say baby me fear free ni say unhwe Okada semana kwabena say share market economy ma the byproduct of inefficiency of the transportation market. To say we should be to say black market amount for
as a result of
yes, because the forest market there has been some form of inefficiency now black market appear forex amount for coho no mo kodi dra to sika edifi hono masana Okada asemono etie nti senna over the years no be the past 30 years no
you fall out in yani anhye hu
ye nti senka yetumi manage ye economy no ne yatoto ye no me especially a transportation system from the past 30 years no ene ye de enoma pa egugu akwema enka sam market we no inefficiency and say a unity no nka entumi mpaganity na me de me hwe asem no afri fatalities asem say ohwe between 2001 na Okada fatalities and as a motorcycle fatalities in general Ghana hano as the year 2001 if I say 23 years ago na ye gina ohanchiche mu mienu echiripo baako echiripo nso 2.7%. By 2018 na motorcycle accident enyano etumia pejani move from her into chemo echiripo mienu eko enso no akwa gina 21% ohanchiche mu aduonu baako. Na minia the man here anwanwa kra ne say National Road Safety Commission for a presentation be normally to just say accident Okada anase motorcycle course no eno emohomohu du hu chance car kra ne car ehia na sa osa fa Okada ye bi ebu nso the same National Road Safety Commission so omudi to dwa be kire say Okada no rank as the number 2 causal agent for accidents in Ghana.
Okada.
We data available nyame na make. Now munso in 2014 under President John Dramani Mahama na ankasa tamana oye omampanyi Ghana hano. a National Road Safety Commission for release data be no more say enipa empim yenu echiripo adunum enson baakwe 2571 enna Okada na se motorbikes ebo omo in 2014 alone. The same part 2,571 emu 1,856 ene hwere wo monkwa. Enti ejina sa adiwe ya esi in 2014 enti ene se menua lawyer de ho ne information nipa. Enti so be care in 2012 no under President John Dramani Mahama. Eye ono ankasa e passe mra ani e freno the Road Traffic Regulation 2012 ALI to 2180. Ne sections 128 clause 1, clause 2 and clause 3 and 84 of sa airline no ne ebrase eye Okada anase de ne nan miensa you find a tricycle ye de be se ye de ye commercial ye de friend pa gradia no mo de ne eyade na by 2012 na samre we no omanpinyida that His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama ne pass samre ya making in 2012 wo ho no say ya bra because na enipa ewu to say detail amediam na afi no na ano de do na che say Okada no ya de ba kwa na eye National Road Safety Commission identify say a second largest causal agent of death on our roads. Inti se utieti inkomoni ye abedru ne ya mi se 2020 sa se mi unity ene so no the same ade ne ye nyina enim ti se me ne Atik kan ne se nyina enim se eye new sansa emi se commercialization e de ensem bebreba se bi mpa nke private purposes input dia but say once be commercial say ye fa ni partnership ye de carry ni pa no na te se asem no aya asem fofo aye bra no eya asem no am bisa me ho ne se na ede ene sesan ye nti a afede ade a yankasa yewura omanpanyi dada onu ankasa ne breso o shemra kate se saadi de enka metwema na asema bra no ede na esesa nti afede all of a sudden no enkomoda sa akosore se wo se saadi kura no yetumi legalize anase yedutum eno de mi se asem se bai mi se ye nyina no ebibise bisa ye ho enti se wo hwe de mi nua kan ye besi ye na hwe data no so kra de kira mi se data no so de wo kan data so ne bibia wo biase data ne kira de na te se de bia se me de se ye pese ye enact policy na ade te se de ye nyina ya agi atum no se by product of inefficiency wo ye transportation system no nti na ama na yi ne ti de na ewo say yetumi pedie ye friend say novel ideas and say anhyehyɛ pa ebetumi amma ya solve sa problem na senia me ma data na say eye the number second and say number 2 causal agent for road accidents no yebetumi kura eye free ho. And they say a sapapa as on mind to say Ghana. They said the Mitchell say in 2014 enipa 1,860 and the woo year from motorbikes a bonipo or mine. And then the pass said your motor to accident. Where your motorbikes now boni pakekeno enipa 1,860 in 2014 the woo Ghana Hanumusi. And the air was say a dear beer as on mine. Yemfa politics and 20 na yenhwe kwan a yebetumi aso ano na mimi hu ne said say me nua kan no se utukwan kwa abruchire me se o ma hero tukwa kwa man bebre so ewo eye abruchimemo if you koye kuro ye South Africa hay kura in sub-Saharan Africa and me say eye transportation system ni ade bia me in numerous articles amacho make say eye gold mine. Na problem I me war with your financial sector and as a financial institution say just like any other thing no I say your financial institution and as a financial sector ni nyina so na protocol we can say omu nyina targeted the friend say low hanging fruit entino say oko obebi to say o my Switzerland so to say me fa UK new examples me I take aka e ho asem dada say oko obebi to say o my Switzerland transport no from bus Ecofa train Switzerland bank and manage transport sector no that transport baby o ma hene me de bia meka radio so na me articles be match say see a person solve unemployment or Ghana ha transport ade ba ko betumi solve unemployment or Ghana ha na me say adwen course anything me fa abrochire de atwa mfoni a kire no say offer transport sector na say o managing from bus to train o ma hene ubehia de din ka ubehia o mo mbetwi bus no anase o mbetwi train no wo ye no fi ho a ubehia engineers a bus ne say a ye be from no ma ba be repair Ubenya accountants omo no be keep records ika yejeje ubenya the same enipa omo so wo saa nimdie no ma gina baas no ma yeden o ma check se wo kwa aburuchira wo fa utima ne aba ticket please me across check ni na ye adwuma na ekriti ubenya omo nso a your friend is saying omo na ebe monitor security agencies omo so be nti se ofa banking sector no man they seem to be economists and statisticians omo be project so within the next years no see to me atrema nipa dodo see revenue say be dey nya film na based on how revenue no ye betumi mpo akọ amanone ana betumi akọ IM betumi akọ African Development Bank ni akọ je besen etumi ato bass ne dodo na because based on projected revenue ye benya within the next 2 years no and no ebe leverage me to be the jinaso kra ekodi loan to say wo fa ne say ye bus sector no anase bar transport sector no wo ye na say wo nye ne say nkran ha na wo ye ne the whole Ghana ne ye ne pa o man because say utu kwan free nkran ha ne kumasi o man nkronkron na aka ne de ekwan de we betu transport sector ne betu biebiem aye loans ne papa to say ne say bi utu kwan kwa abrochira ye hu no but the financial sector no minim omo go ho no mai mi say aya omo yes analysis we mo etu hwa de dodo na ye se wo kan banking sector reports free Bank of Ghana bana omo nyina do musika koto government instruments inti ananu ya financial crisis oye ne kakresi hwa na because all over the years no the nyina enemy cost basic economics here so government never dies inti se onya to aban instrument dia about so wo mti ase inti na because low hanging fruit inti abaye se convenience inti insesenka wo financial sector nka sebio ye betumi apani pano match tin hye aba baby ye betumi dis ka kwura na ye tumi create you see se okasa private sector is the engine of growth for man enye se bio broni kofi broni ana kwani broni no ofi ni kromo badi sika be wura hankwa no and the private sector is the engine of growth through name one believe the financial sector because the financial sector is the engine of every economy and when is sika free ba entina banks and the create sika no the central banks of a Bank of Ghana on create sika it is only the commercial banks and the to create sika by lending out money. So, it is a person creative sika. We a very strong financial sector to say ye war start to him no test see I can. So offer your Ghanaian economy and also offer your financial space na. O man hine. See be kan okra. Amai mienu banks and say see o ma bawura Ghana ha no say. The din kan Nigeria. And say South Africa so ababeto so. Na some e be say on say e ba me say e no man be to say South Africa or maybe to say Nigeria. Omo financial sector na so omo financial institutions say ABSA to say FNB etumi ayo ototo omo no ma ya momotu ya bawura Ghana me say ama local banks no omo ni compete ama some of the public owned banks in Pone me say sia no omo ntumi enyina omo na so ye be see ho sa question we say e kire ye say omo plans na so omo nyoma omo de agu kwan mu omo ye no e wo mu krom ho no ye nyoma etumi ema omo tumi bawura amaya akamu na ye bisa se ye tie Ghana bank ene obetumi bawura South Africa anaso obetumi bawura Nigeria we ni nsema se ye pese ye bu o man ni ekekere o man ye o man hene financial sector me de bia me bo me because minim se bia me ye economics ni ntia emfa ho ne aban a wote so we ni ade o se etumi charge wo mo no omo hwe ekonkan e chen de abe low hanging fruit so bia ya so hwa me say me na me ye analysis bi e me say last year na ohwe financial sector na say commercial banks no omo demand for government instruments from 2014 to 2018 no na adena konanim be almost be 70% adena number of 40 something percent no ohanchichemu aduane no na keka kwa ohanchichemu aduoson ne akire dey say omu nyina no ejiji sika na access loans and access savings gakra no be no mo de akoto government instruments to say me ne we be sika akoto a de omu nyina ne say government instruments ne akoto
so doc what you're saying is that it's not a well, maybe for lack of a better way. The policy should be relooked again.
Exactly.
As it stands now, any ideas?
No, me want to say, and yeah, aban betumi aye. You see, the problem I me want to say, BBI and say aban.
To me, yes, say one almost go fast Tesla cars here by only a point UCC baby.
Yo,
betumi
talking about cars.
But motors with my device.
You see, but we haven't. Why do you think nobody is important? We haven't got there yet. What you say? You drew for you.
Entino, entino, it is a new mini Americano. A sector it was set private sector no etumi hwe every say sika wo me dem say gold man you see say okasa abanya they may be some when say offer abanya twin for the last 30 years abanya revenue yesen because revenue as a percentage of GDP ene kura ye tia kura no ye revenue anase sika enya na afi ni mu nyina say wo de to ye GDP nya ho no kura enu 20%.
Okay, let's have about so doc my uncle maybe originators of a Nkoma AD and ombet match but quick ones be quick or say at one time Ghana used to have public transportation system like UK. I for one used to catch my bus to school from Bantima to Kwada so Greek. It was really comfortable and the ticket conductors were fun to watch. It all started going down due to the many coups in Ghana. OSA was great, but it will be difficult for another government to bring it back.
OSA was an intercity coach, but nonetheless it was very effective.
Yeah, it was good, but it was difficult for another government to bring it back due to the trotro services that have come to live with us. Mother Ghana really needs help. But I'm just I allow for penny pound today. But I'm just looking at a CSIR, a BR for Omode Tebi Omode. It's worrying. So motorcycles' contribution to a year accidents as of 2002 was 2.9%.
Today,
as we speak today, even this is 2020, is 31.7%.
Look at the exponential increase.
2001, 2.7% in 2001. By 2018, now could you not 21%?
So if 2020 is 31.7, then we don't know.
Yes,
because we began to commercialize the use of motorbikes. Okada idea
let's ask the lawyer. Maybe more is hard checks when you still you have a way of making us feel safe and reducing these casualties. What informed this this policy? Ghana for tomorrow.
All right, they also that policy of say a person motorbikes usage, you legalize it and you're for and I'm not going to wow when you have to form. I'll come to the accidents and those things. Means a wild when you have to form. Every corner of Accra, or majority of the corners of Accra, finance will be called. Okay, my music be I don't tie a blue road. If you will see what Yarifa, they will see what Yarifa no, but be a all corner and yet. Yarifa annual baby, also 90 inside baby, for easy purposes. Nipanibinian bike born a junction, so at Yakufi. And Tessa or Banantino. That is what is going on. Tisiamanoka say. So I come here, so majority of all parts of Accra. Manet, Manet Junction. Manet Junction, or before Trotters will be so Manet Junction, we saw Manet Junction. We couldn't feel what does a problem, but we know if I was of God and Zah. Or Bananti Free Junction, listen, I could baby Kupotia, or because can't fire need me see a point to be infinite to us. That is a reality. But I don't AC what it.
Okada buy.
The entry was not changing. We said, because I'm the buy.
We see is a reality, and I'm asking you a simple question.
Okada buy and independent. They were just walking to their homes. Simple. One for drop your opponent. Over there. Another day. Now what you talk to us about that?
Don't try to minimum.
Baby, I could do okay. No, I'm saying me come from the station. Me see what me far community. Sorry, 18 junction can. Me see Manet Junction. Manet Junction not. From Manet Junction to the few, but I go view.
How many minutes?
It's not about the minutes.
Even in the UK, that is not about system.
I will come to the UK.
Everyone see how better.
Number 3.
No,
I was here. Number 3. You can out and make my thousand. Okay. You can out and my thousand. Say what now? You can go bossy. Oh my. No, no, can't be BRB. Who with the mattress about the gamble a lot of coin. Yet again, Hannah, Obukum can't go. If you are a woman, go to the end of was out and go and check. There are some communities, vehicles can't access those communities. You have to go by bike. I didn't want to today. Can't mean because I can't you define my phone, you get to a point and pack. Or mind the only means you can go to that village or that community is to go by motor or walk. Asa, on the motor now so they are not. That is a means. But you have a sanity. Do you have access to almost every community? So whether you like it or not, say whether it is legal or not legal, that is a million for people to get to their homes.
And you have regulating.
Of course.
Regulating,
okay, so now I'll make my number 3. My mini country
is the word regulate or legalize.
Well, legalize or we are regulating the fraud.
No, there's a difference.
Atik, take it to your view. Well, I mean, you hold on to your position. Yeah. My position is different. So
my interest is what data speaks to in terms of air accidents.
You will come there, man. I will come there. I will definitely address it. I will definitely address it.
Data,
I will definitely address it. They can know the number of people that die from lorry accident.
When motorcycle are worse off.
Oh, I'm saying.
That's what.
And I'm saying, the data also from 2002 now can have 2020.
It has all of that.
Death rates from the accident, not just the accident.
Death rate, yes, death rate from cars.
Okay, so you go on to your issue, so that then we come back.
That's fine. I mean, you have a question. So the other can see a person, I didn't know that. I describe it as it has become something like an even necessity. But I bet you have not here. I'm for issue. How do you want to go to the communities?
So Dr. Kabila say it is only in Ghana that we think of legalizing illegalities as an antidote to impunity. How
you see, inefficiency to be noticed.
But listen to me. I've used my own constituency for the
he talks about legalizing.
He can't drive there. What in language of Lincoln? Who could your car cannot go there? How will you go? But you still want to assess that community. And that's like has been from Genesis in 2024. Do you see what them to live there and be isolated? They have to travel. That's very to go to every point in the north. But beyond a car, as I say, let's be realistic. Yes, I have in mind the Benny pretending. And you know, I don't know where they out. You order something from any shop or any store. You buy food from any food joint. How do they deliver them? In the UK, as your site, they deliver food with bicycles and so on and so forth. But how do they do all those things? You're creating road and money to about already on Namo. Oh, mine. They have ways that they use. There's a part from Ponglo Bar. What must I use that motor lane to it? I felt that news of your line to I think there's a GSA standard authority. Good. So we can do it.
So that should be the solution.
We can do these things. And until the same time we are telling you, you see, legalizing the thing is not just a there are several things that you need to do. Ghana Police Service. Only you're in this riders, the president. They don't just ride though. They bring trainers from abroad to come and train them at New Venice Square. Sometimes in the Venice Square or police depot. There are trained. So they are good. These boys will not. You see, the accidents are coming because of one, they lack training. Hey. They lack skills. Most of them want to know what is
I was in who trains you to ride motor? Motor Kasudi, just a government has to spend money on training people to do Okada.
And I told you that even Ghana police service, police personnel who ride motorbike are trained on riding the motorbike.
Because these are professional bikers. These bikers are special. Now ordinary luxury. Do you know how many of them that dies? Have you checked? Do you know how many police officers that died? Meaning police enforcing a point. Say motor is a risky business.
I think me say madam police ni mundi was so issue. You know go protect it was nane. O police motor rider. Motor ya say ya.
No be kwa wuna say.
What I say? They are dying and we are not saying it's risky. We are not saying there is no risk attached to it. And then but there can say risk was a risky in mine and near that say and probably man do you want that
to legalize.
So we make sure that we will legalize it, number one, give them the training, number two, and make sure that we will do things that will limit that rate now.
What kind of training can was in that all Okada drivers are to fall under a certain
and be licensed, you see, or certified.
All right, so check any money being one. Education and awareness, they need that. They need that because even drivers and who say are you for a form say
GPR tuning?
No, not even GPR. I want to say going to them and educating them and creating awareness to them almost every day. Yeah. Are we saying they are not experienced? Some of them carry lances, F and so on and so forth. Their awareness will be a double how many years, 30 years, 20 years. But every now and then, these people go to them to create awareness and educate them.
So how do we?
So we are still going to do. We are going to do the same thing for them because they need them.
Okay. So I'm sure. What's point one?
Again.
And also education and then
awareness.
And awareness.
Okay, that's one.
That is one. Okay. Number two, we are going to ensure mandatory training for them.
What kind of? What will the nature of the
mandatory?
No, you see, what
so the training will be on how they are supposed to ride the motorbikes, how they are supposed to respect events and travel regulations.
That's awareness. Respect
and all those things. Listen, you may decide to agree or not to agree. I'm not to agree. And no problem. You take your position. My point is what I'm telling you. The things that we do in America, and see even police officers. You think they don't know the rules and regulations to cover how to ride motorbike? Most of them are form as also me. I mean, more or less expert riders in Bodida. I mean, guy be a for more than 20 years. I found policeman. On one service, you be BBB with the bike, but it doesn't matter that. Obama, I best could train to be able to use that 1,300.
So maybe
wonder bikes now.
How are we going to group these people? Give them free.
No, grouping in the wine. If you are all going
to delivery,
relax. If you are all going to register, if you are all going to register, then you are going to be licensed.
There's going to be a re-registration of them
because we need to be able to categorize them and know them well.
They are talking data now.
Okay, we need to be able to categorize them and know them well because we want the system say even so offer Okada do now look we should be able to trace that person.
I think what is.
We should be able to trace that person. You may not agree with me, but that's what we are going to do. Also, the name I can say. Oko me very saying me maraf beti asi the Johnson so do the Johnson so now ko obanje ko nfia umade motorbike down aye one more create everything this influence here you see yellow bi and omo atwere one more short code bi the code bomb the anti that there's an abbreviation plus a number.
That's actually motorbike 2.
Motorbike 3 maybe a good achieve.
Motorbike 2 here.
That group anyone who say way. Even with them. Why do you think they are doing that? They are doing that to be able to identify themselves, number one, to be able to trace themselves in case something happens. I wouldn't say if I way in the way see. That is what we are going to do in general. Because one point I'm ready to come by say impossible dance. One thing I do say, in the same way boy me man who be nyam say obi fireman ka say me fast message me kwa ha no yakwaje me bag of film some. We never come be beside the countries. Because now that one challenge is what you the real Okada are in business. we can come with the who is motor we can just about the stop no na kwa denta ana ofa wotra motor to we do denta na say be am 5 cities in the piaka but as say we proper Okada rider or we na come be keke bi no fa no do sika do you know you don't all right so these things are needed me get to me say accident wo ho me get to me say be I know because the minimum na meboa e be at me present time that way you know that can must highway
but it can be done
of course it can be done I can't must highway so man nyame nko a moto bi tisi kwan mu a enye se me ye very
now driving
o free na we be free o tisi man road highway so kin preocupe
asukwa me cousin
nyame nko a enye se me ye careful aka me ka bo no
helmet
asukwa
ye na woni onu ko nchen wie na ankan no o say boss but be sorry na me say we you sorry asem and the highway so na what see me say no ba and that's sorry asem so you see it is all because these people they don't have any kind of I mean knowledge or training about this things because akoye no nim bibia me so obatia highway so sa just say they run them.
I say na Atik uti o ka Atik asa o farm o tell us about no man the crowd o tell me to so poor I was in special
and you know can no go share to see you make us mo share madia
okay
it's the can no bo no I can again ngasi
okay so my main king of the text message Atik that for mama I come from a rural community in Cape Town Port North and Bole Bambo. It doesn't appear to appreciate the issues involved in solving our transportation deficits. I've campaigned in very rural communities. I am a motorbike rider, and perhaps the youngest boy to ride a desert horse in Kintampo at age 9 or 10. So that's Dr. Kabila saying, and he wants me to read whatever he says. He said, it is only in Ghana that we think of legalizing legalities as an antidote to impunity. Ghana. How did we get here? Then we should as well pass a law to regulate armed robbery. As former President Rawlings once said, populist nonsense must give way to common sense. Dr. Kabila should do that. And Rankususu London or say Omahine, the NDC is not prepared to explain it. Why are you forcing them to explain it? Rankususu London also they are there, but no. And then Ayalolo Fonso, Frank Nipenyi, or say the word is regulate rather. The operative word is regulate, not legalize. So he thinks that we are regulating the front of the Okada guys.
Is that what they are saying, or that's what he feels they should say?
Oh well, okay, that
exactly, because there's a difference between legalizing and regulating.
Okay.
You can legalize and not regulate.
Okay. Nana Ponsabidi, I could say legalizing Okada won't reduce the accidents happening on the road. Most people are not investing in the Okada business because they feel it's not legalized.
Most people are not. Yes. When you go invest in the Okada business, more than 20 overall. No, I know, but I say I didn't perform that. I mean, I
say they feel it's not legalized.
And I'm saying, man, for a woman, I said, somebody yet me can't tell. Some of the things we can't say it here. Now I can't.
Omaini, we are in the business of producing wheat. They are in the business of planting and cultivating wheat. Until because Nkrofudu do na dog weed inti. Yabeka say, my policy is to legalize the farming of wheat. You see, Mehuni said now there's a great deal of populism that is characterizing this year's campaign and Hajuni. Look, Anka Mampenyi had the policy on public transportation would focus on either a rapid bus system and anything that would improve your current transport.
He did that when he was in power, and you know that. But I don't listen to the bad.
Maybe. So he has abandoned because you see.
He has not abandoned anything. I think.
Maybe. Wadaruma.
And then
He sent you on his own.
Who a lawyer? Make us and what the one
if the policy were presented in such a way, okay. You see, like I said, every policy is inspired by a need or some demand. Problem is we have problems with public transport. Now, our buying solution is we want to introduce a rapid bus transit. A World Bank supported the government to do it. And now me and can be thinking is Uncle former President Mahama, with the benefit of having implemented something similar, no, Uncle Becker said, look, me ba, I would streamline it, I would improve it, not masa, you get our buy-in. But see, you are living and you say, I can't be about having rapid bus systems because I alone is now a field intervention. Because of the way I hear, no.
They would disagree. But I is a field intervention.
Oh, come on, woman can't cry.
Sir, a failure under those that we are not about. Because I didn't from 2017.
Even the current MD, it's not field.
That's fine. So,
no, Miba. You see, when you're doing business, that's fine. You're either making revenue, making profit, you can say breaking even, or you're running losses. What is the state of Ayalulu today?
I think that gentleman, the way our phrase is here, Dominic.
I doubt if they are even making even.
Because we know Bitnama or Sai intervene is Enguye. If I
no, business they are breaking even or they are profitable.
These three now there, but I'm sure
they have a big term now.
Somebody can be in business by his running losses. What is it? Say, see, I almost 30 years. Do you know the number of fleets they started with? How many Ayalulu buses do you see around? And that cannot be a sign of failure, but who is successful. And they're successful, you would have seen an expansion, more of them. But you see, I'm a someone ever, not there used to be a lot of them on the road. So be a new just baku. No, what I mean is that baku, but there used to be like number 06, just like London buses here, what's my here? So say I was didn't be. And the now come me my thinking is okay. Dear Nema sa intervention because we don't have rapid bus lanes. Uko UK.
It was created, but I mean
no.
It was created.
No, the amount of money we sank.
Okay, so what I'm going to be? I want to service strategy. 37 airport strategy. So
37 airport.
No, I
mean, you should give us the data.
We made losses from 2016 December to 2018 September.
Okay.
He's filling me in with
the data.
So he admits that there were losses in 2016
to 18
for 2 years.
2016
December to 2018.
2018 September.
So it's about 2 years.
No, so 2019 to date, and they are breaking even.
Okay,
and also making smaller surpluses to keep the bus actively working.
All the buses are not most of them.
Either breaking even.
Okay, so I take a point in
2019 to date,
they are
breaking even, and also
that's a fair
smaller surpluses to keep the buses actively working.
So, I think making this the most of the buses
a politically correct way of saying what you say. It's a politically correct way of saying you can call that's the word. Describe but let me just end on this note. You see, this idea is the only mode of transportation because you're near coin. It's an indictment on all of us.
Oh, no, you see, I agree.
Having said so,
I agree.
So if the problem is road, how do you cure that problem with Okada? No, you know, so this is a solution to the problem.
Why identify the major solution?
The problem, you mean problem? No, I didn't hear a month when you know the problem. And instead of you to fix the problem, you are prescribing a different solution. And look, the nuisance of Okada in the international business, are they seeking to legalize or regulate, or legalize and regulate? Because these are two different. I mean, these are different scenarios.
It is now illegal, sir.
No,
so we need to first legalize it
and then regulate.
Before anything regulates.
So you legalize and then regulate.
Exactly. Because
I'm getting to a point.
It's not legal.
You have to legalize it
and then regulate.
So you first have to make it legal.
Before after legalization, they'll do the training.
And then
what kind of training? And see, who training Okada ride the same? Young got here how to read road traffic, and you already talked about education and awareness, and yet the same thing now. So you do training and the corona. But my point is, what is the problem you are seeking to solve? Because every policy has a rationale. Or will be anybody who has worked with policy. Also, that is the point. You see, let's ignore populism for a minute. Let's ignore elections for a minute. Name the hard, questions. What is the objective truth characterizing this whole promise that has been made? Because there has to be a rationale. What is the rationale? And the explanation, to say 24-hour, there is inadequate clarity, for want of a better expression. Exactly. And my issue is what is the rationale? If the problem is public transportation, then is this a solution? Is this the best solution we can proffer? Say you see amount for a Kwejumana or Druni Junction or new baby in Bonifi. Yemi say how many minutes work? What we want to do in this from the first point of departure. Say utimi etna bibiswa all the way to your entrance.
It's a matter of choice now.
No, me ba. Oh,
it's somebody's choice.
Oh. To Munim say even elsewhere where we have effective public transport system. And I know. ABSU baby no one until Kofi. Yen kasa because of that the Okada alcohol. Ama BSU and now at Okada so Kofi. No. There's no bus that will move you to your house. You have to walk. What is it? Now we are saying the Oko Manet Junction. From Manet Junction to VA, there is no car the Okada. Look, and this is the justification for having such a policy. No, Ghana cry Eban is saying that all of this is the kind of conversation this is the conversation we're having.
So what do you think should happen?
We need to have an effective public transport system. And let me give you some ideas.
Okay,
let's start with some rapid bus transit. There were some challenges and I've mentioned one of it, having special
bus lanes. Good.
That is one.
No,
you would have done that. When there is traffic,
not just 2 lanes.
I'm all feel comfortable using public transport. No, you say traffic background exactly. Look, there are people who live in Canterbury and work in London.
Of course.
Also, you're not for stagecoach.
What I
say? Because when him said there are some bus lanes with traffic here or Timifa Hoko. That is what we need to start thinking about. That is one. 2. This thing about digitalization. I'm not officer but we have the world is growing. Yakutu Pempen Subia. You see, me assures will be ayalolo for you. Omeka shows revenue collection is even a problem. Because the ticketing, the human interface, too much. It lends itself to abuse in Nasanuman. In the UK, Oyster
card and then other cards.
To me, use Oyster card, even your debit card. What to me, look, for London,
you can use debit cards. Yeah.
Yes, what is here? Now, even elsewhere, in fact, even in Canterbury, you can use other cities. You can use your debit card. If you don't have mostly it's even debit card. In
fact, in no you can use your debit card.
Contactless ones, yes.
You see, it increases their revenue collection. They become more efficient and
human interface.
Too much because they have to conduct revenue or tip paper. Or tip paper now to Chunia. The next man know their man. Or sometimes would go inside.
We need evidence to that. Where become
you see, woman come and sometimes get him out. That's the point. They can go and print or mangas or more. But even Panoba, buses, there is a EB on my, then just place your card there. So that's another intervention we need to look at. And more importantly, you see, let's introduce BBR that would discourage people from driving more. Look, London, there are some things. If you take that wrong, Ghana embassy has been charged. High commission. I mean Ghana's mission in London. Then say I'm the list be by say Edika. As there are some wrong turns. Once you make kiss our wrong turn, I saw £200.
They have parking problems.
Exactly. I saw £200. And these are new BI. We can introduce first rapid bus lane as a private driver. Instantly say charge you. Bagana yet me this meaning na eshishemwa. Look, I would feel comfortable knowing very well me sorry and timing so buses and from say nipa or more from time so I so unlike trotro and ma on 2 year. But some public transport, no, was it?
Last two.
Last two. This is something. What I say? These are things we need to do so that Nippon on him say there's reliability. Say every 30 minutes, Uko landing bus terminals, no, Udra, a screen bill a ruli. 5 minutes, bus 069 is coming. Edria, Eko maybe Croydon or whatever. Eba time soon na abedru. Until when him say you can plan and it is reliable, and you don't have to worry your head about a semi talker and an for. These are the things that can be feel say. Say, look, we need to have an effective public transport system, but to make it efficient and effective, these are the things that I'm person here.
Okay.
But to say, I think it's just sheer populism.
Also by explaining the reintroduction of toll booths, no by explaining actually.
Yanka will have
e-gate no.
Yanka 5G na
and we near you so. David, this any day this.
Other matters we work.
Some
media other matters
some text messages. I
think that was so creating.
There's a very important subject.
But it's not on the agenda.
So I think this one they don't know. Nana God bless you. That's what they're gonna bring a Dutchland ticket, no.
Oh yes,
sample, yeah.
49 euros for a month.
One day, maybe the picture.
Yeah.
Maybe the picture was
now in Holland, no more ticket kiosks. Now it's cashless.
So use your cards and those things to go with your bank cards to go with.
Those talking about training Okada riders after legalizing them should stop deceiving themselves. How many small-scale miners have we successfully trained after removing the ban? Let's maintain what we have today and not create a mess we may regret later.
And also, what can we offer a budget for best and number this year? I don't know what to know.
And this one also says that kindly tell Atik, this from Kabila. Kindly tell Atik that the rationale is votes for 2024 elections. Okay, so look,
with the permission, my main free e-gates and I'm a family red two boots.
No problem.
You intend me say a flag bearer for the MPP, the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Baumia, me say, and I know pay Kushia, and penny for Cape Coast, and me so they are to just say by September, dear, now a year, the friend e-gates or airports na introduce. No mind, let me say, or can someone let me say, in Chimuka Kribu, me say, you also to me, Dema.
Dr. Baumia has in the other some.
Oh, send into the economist, Yensu, Jumani, be so way. And to say, or you senior economist, and to another say a policy statement on Waka. Into Chimuno or Honto or say a dema. Or mind is over in 2021, a year. Passenger traffic far Kotoka International Airport near 1.3 million. Now in 1.3 million. In 2022, equal 1.8 million. Okay, and in 2023, about 2.1 million. Actually, say over the years, no.
Yes,
Ekosro. Now, so airport, there's a traffic congestion, no, esuma. The actual say when to me amfa enchiche bi emu akwan ma emani pa ho han emi say to say the man be as wa fat say Airbus money Emirates for mo double decker planes ni bi say sa planes ni emi say be hia wa ha ahomache na say nyumra obeni ho me say me de bi afiri ho aba be do Kotoka da me say I regretted that day obetumi plane no crazy ho no mo no wonya nsi fo mo no obetumi tina plane there 1 hour
yeah be na bai
we experience na December 2017 or 2018 mobile.
That's a very nice and we have na train in June. You see at the very we be try play no 1 hour
so the graphics indicative say as I say a
so we say as a nation we should be proactive. na se ohwe say se oka research papers ade ba akwa Africa ha no mu say in particular na enipa be tourists in particular no aya na entam madodo na aye because of this traffic congestion because obia so kind of psychology no obia no pepper say me play mo about the turbulence ni ade masabe jira bia 1 hour yesi gate to perminya gate because e bia airbus ni hwan homa ba be gina ho nti na wo so nim se we pie wanya sa wa no crazy form no wa pie no afi na sabe be di queue tin so ansa na we go through immigration na say kra de dey na say obedi nka go Ghana Health Service ansa na we Ghana Health Service wa ba be call immigration ho na say eyade bi eyatete ansa na we wie no wa saba be twen wo luggage nti say wa ba be do koteka but to spend be say close to 2 hours crans and what to papa ko file back no wedding where there's a psychological ayade emwa na oman we nyina so ya make basis no say osha eye revenue a yenya free eye tourism ma in 2021 yenya 3.1 billion tourism dollars when you Ghana city so 3.1 billion dollars Statista
and as still any
in 2022 yenya 3.4 billion dollars in from tourism Statista data no in 2023
what is the source
Statista
Ghana na?
Yes, Ghana.
That source well anyway I have my issues with that
in fact,
source
so the initial revenue panebia Ghana Tourism Authority in 2019 more na 1.8 billion. So
the statistics I've had issues using the before. So that's what I'm saying.
There might be some, I mean, obviously in data there will be a plus or minus 5% differential which is allowed because based on the normal projections. It's not far fetched from what they are saying. So mine it is per se. Ye omanya ye proactive na etumi ekwa enu mudi no matutu kwan mu tse na ye hwe ne na be ti se e-gate no de ayade a ehu abia pa enti se eni ya menu ka se okọ eye Ghana aviation authority okọ eye no sorry Ghana Airports Company Limited okọ omo website edaho sesia in fact obehu the pictures of e-gates na I think about 7 to 10 omo I install Okotoka International Airport wa say okọ a wani behu feeling agochi we nye adie
and omo ye old terminal 2
we no ye de udru ha se wo card no so udru se Ghana card anyway na we de to so a o buy metric data ne wo it be pack so na bia mo so ya
say ye be terminal 2 no so
de be ye nyisu ye in fact Nigeria mpo is story be
pictures of that
Nigeria mpo is maybe it was not operationalized it was not operationalized but yes we no be no there
terminal 2 baby na via all presidential via
yeah one say me no be no there you dru ha e bia wo there now e bia wa ban wo etina udru na dey ma pro
no and then some na make me say that that time
South Africa and Nigeria Nigeria for install be in April 2024 this year up to date or more operationalizing
Abuja International Airport yes you
Tambo Samiame or more install so more operational but we are going to operationalize this say a do now we do biometric data and etosune redepe let's say a clear one na be na woko and that one Ghana Health Service
that was one day we
call immigration
now they are doing this at terminal 3 right
they are wasting time let's say
no, Doc, I'm not telling you. I'm not saying sir. There was one at that terminal 2 before they come up to my train. There was one there. But you should have fair enough.
Winning airport, winning baby, you to say here. Now will be some question.
I make sure say.
I would do
that. You will be system.
Would do what Ghana card is
more money yes say the from
you say more personal Ghana card the effectiveness of Ghana card it cannot be compared to today. That's a fact. Number 2, more personal buy. You watch say now maybe Oma money more.
No, I think Chum's issue is don't make it look as if say this is the first time something like that. And I'm one.
Maybe you say one hour can was some say.
No, I think that is what.
Asante Kai. Say Omanpenyuko ebe chance. Oko ye mi say Omanpenyuko do nye baby ko John Evans atomi so ba me kura me kase the end time 2010 me ko DQ mo be 2 hours emi ye deliver to see ma me Ghana card be si na me nya Ghana card enti wo do wa no kase me
Ghana card
yes wo kase wo be abani be different thing but so wo kan Ghana card say na wa kan ya Ghana card it is nowhere near what happened in 2010 to 2016 enti say be this time around information everything has been linked. Say we do want to passport and answer Ghana card no what the treso next class say Atik near negate na bi ma take kwana ko fa bag ne ko fie and this first na e be wie na e bia ba ono kra na was Atik Eko eye Ghana Health Service. That is Ghana Health Service. And sana we Ghana Health Service wako immigration. So sa 2-step check no ebe efi ho. Into when asama emi say yewura editu. Na me fa eye tobu tasam no so interest. Emi say tobu tasam no de emi say ayasem bia ne ka ehia pa na ye nyina nim say tobu to na de ba kunti ama emi say aban etwam ne say na operational cost no crime say do baby na social revenue and I
don't think so.
So because they were not making enough revenue. There was a time I read one data and it just said
the minister's argument was that
we were making 2.4 million Ghana cedis in a month from tolls. So now operational cost
yeah.
But implicitly,
but it was less to be frank.
But so
were manning the
yes, implicitly no. Now just say at a point operational cost no cry no na ni baby no me say just supposed not to do more munya efimu because on say agreement say who make this and who are taking this. But then we did not know what exactly was going into that operational cost and how much they were taking out of it. But the enemy so in a month in the whole Ghana tools in now make 2.1 million Ghana cedis. How? So internet idea and just say economically no say we a businessman na enya de viable. In reintroduction of toll booth no and also nyan kwese say dada na ye no. There will be the novelty. In fact, say I South Africa, you free be e-tolling. Utwema at utwema na ato. And then nipa da sini ba be take it na sebi o te say kaswa tobu denta na meto wo man wo be kai
motorway ne bi was motorway ne
the E section but anyway
there was an E section on the motorway.
So what they needed to do was just to make sure that all the booths
were just make it all because we gonna be all
me alloy there no I can simple say o from 2009 to 2016 me na want to be
it was done about time. The motor one was done about.
Be a nuisance. No man,
Caswa the Lord can have no problem. And yet to some no can have a problem. Caswa the Lord can have a problem. They needed more form. It's a novelty near the banana say Akikilo. It is a novelty in a say Dr. Haji Baumia. Ede bemu na saade te se meni Atik kire mu sa human interface no a breed corruption a breed inefficiency sebi o ye begidi sika so at the end of the day no kra no ye hu be sika no afa no e betumi eye firi wonti eye ade pa emi se e betumi aboa na ba ko so se tie asem se o hwe eye ye tax system no nso a ade ba ko sa complex tax system na ye wono na entumi generate enough revenue my no and also ade ba kwa mi se na e wo se ye hwe ne ka ho asem nti so hwe a se flat rate asem ya sesia eba mu in fact mami ma data bi he o ma bi te se Estonia asa 2002 na Estonia for omu GDP ni nam roughly about 3 billion USD asa 2002 now Estonia for to me implement that flat rate no omo granted tax amnesty so obia and shall see from a fresh skill to say the lawyer tears is a lawyer one law firm ebia because of computation of tax nimpo ne bia lawyer kura nim enu ties you ne lawyer the ka bia 5 billion me just say bia lawyer kura ne nye lawyer aban bi be ba na so mampanyi bi be ba no do say 5 billion lawyer dey achew fa o ngani dey Doctor, I'm going to tattoo. I'm going to
I think, sir, I understand. Look, it was a terrible fiscal decision to close our toll booths. For the life of me, how it came about. So, you have a revenue stream, and you are saying, given my projections, any the outcomes, it's a change how we project to the receipts of revenue. Outcomes, and because of that, you pay the entire stream altogether. What do you want to say?
You want to try to get into
no, maybe. Wabbing. I am got here. Yes, E-levy is going to solve all our crises. All our revenue issues, E-levy is coming to solve them. Yanjin Tum said it was a bad, in fact, it was a terrible fiscal policy choice. What I say, and I'm happy, sir, Dr. Bawumia. You see, it's always interesting when you're having conversations with economists. They know Nyomabi, because when he said that was a bad idea, and Western Natural say, or a chairman of economic management, not just it was just a title. Because Obia, who is saying he wants to.
I disagree with you.
Oh, of course, conveniently, I disagree. If you didn't disagree with me, I would be very shocked.
I disagree.
No, Obia, Atik, on what basis are they going to do the campaign?
Conveniently.
Because if he doesn't disagree with me, campaign number anything. But my point is, Sabi, when you don't even need rocket science to know, sir. If you have revenue streams, and we haven't complained, say our revenue to GDP, the ratio is very discouraging. It's one of the lowest in the sub-region. What I say. So what you need to do, in order to increase the ratio, you have to increase your revenue. And one your revenue stream, I muska, sikana emano eswa. Without a replacement.
In fact, for the avoidance of that, not to cut you. Say, e-levy, a projected revenue a year in 2023. Now we were expecting 83.15 billion Ghana cedis. Okay, but in the actual revenue, I am 83.15 million Ghana cedis. In effect, e-levy rating in 2023, Atik Mohammed make it up with 1.2 billion Ghana cedis in 2023. So, and they say, Osha revenue e-levy no edebreya. Obviously, it is about 10 times the revenue, maybe even 50 times the revenue. Not toll booths no edebreya. And you see, I
am working on a paper right now.
Taking factor in is a Vice President or flag bearer can say e-levy no be to me if you. So, now, if e-levy is going to e-levy, which is generating 1.2 billion, will be taken out there, then obviously it is better to bring back the tools. Because you want, see, create respite for the taxpayer. It is something that is basic in economics.
You don't compare tax handles. Tax handles are not easily comparable because the targets are usually different and the rates are usually different and so on. What do you guys say? You are comparing e-levy and toll booth. Tools. You can't do that. And to say, one is projected to give you more and more until because they're crying, we might as well say property rates in mice can't what I say. The point I'm making is that I'm working on a paper right now, and I'm looking at the effect of taxation on the adoption of digital technologies, e-levy and So I'm looking at how e-levy is impacting the use of Momo and so on and so forth.
And you're talking about financial inclusion?
Of course, it's part of it. It's one of the variables I'm looking at how that impacts also. But question me bisan say Dr. Bawumia enim say E-level, and any
at the time we found ourselves, please. At the time we find ourselves.
What did you say? Even the variables that were
holistically started out as a Ghana problem, but at the time we find ourselves.
But there was even a movement here. Doesn't that time? At the time you introduced E11, the volumes that were used as a basis to justify E11, now COVID time volumes. OGD. And wouldn't did COVID time? No, be uncle be. No, people are not even going to the banks.
11 never year 2020.
No, 11. About 2021 there about 21. I think so.
Is it we analysis on this? Volumes now working. As at 2020, no more transaction in Ghana. We were doing barely 800 million Ghana cedis, right? I'm talking about Momo transaction in total mobile transactions. And Momo transactions is in the trillions of Ghana cedis, isn't it?
No, you see, the economy grows. In the kind of idea, you see, the economy grows, and a lot. You see, adoption of technology is slow. You want crophobia?
One of the biggest fears that
No,
it didn't.
But what I'm saying is the truth. Say they did not use the projections. They used what we had experienced in during the COVID. And I'm saying, that time the use of Momo had shot up. What must say? If we still have more volumes, it is not because of anything, but because ABCC we now have more people adopting the technology.
Yeah, that is also a fact.
But my point is, why is the candidate saying it's not a sustainable tax handle? But the point I'm making is the time I had to see free one, it was a bad idea. If there's an inefficiency in the collection of a certain tax, what do? You deal with the inefficiency.
You find better means to improve it.
And you had a vice president who was always preaching digitalization. Okada must say, look, this cannot be, it is not either or situation. Improve tools by CCI. What you are doing now is something I'm sure he had suggested to them. Conveniently, one customer campaign.
The point is,
look, the US. You almost Z-Pass.
But
what did
the position that the things that he wanted to implement in this administration.
No, are you saying, sir? At the time,
I'm context specific. You see, remember that in 2022, we couldn't access Eurobond. We couldn't access the credit market.
We still are not credit worthy.
You see, because we access the credit market. Until we were in a fix, and as a country, we needed alternate sources of revenue.
That is nothing. I don't have a problem with that.
So,
but why cut out other streams?
I agree with we a projection or catch on. When you do projections and you realize that, baby, I'll bet you with continuous even though the stream had a challenge, they could have still looked at that challenge.
That's a problem. Absolutely.
That was I agree with you. So that comes back to the point I am making. Say you have a sector that is giving you roughly 2.4 million Ghana cedis a month, for example.
And there's a flag bearer who is a digitalization person.
Yes, I agree with you.
At the time we didn't have 11. We were just projecting.
Yes, it was. Yes.
So you were projecting. You were not even sure. Look, projections always turn out to be the case. You can project and it will fail.
But you see, the point of the matter is, if we had even restructured the toll booth at that time, there was no way the toll booths could fetch us the 1.2 billion.
I am with you on that, sir. You needed another tax handle to increase your revenue.
Obviously.
I am not.
And for creating respite, I think you are the. Yes. So you know. You need to create.
There was no sense in
my lawyer example. Say say Omahine woka send unya increment in salary now a public sector. This is just basic economics holding all other factors constant. So woka say unya salary incrementer. Abai can say yes, no problem. Okay, open salary increment saying, oh, me pay 30%. Abai better not say edin koma ni adoja we do say 20%. Now, Abai agrees on about 20% salary increment now. How is Abai going to fund that 20% salary increment now? Omahi, what the amount? The same Abina, this is just a classroom example I want to pay to my brother lawyer. The same Abina will find a way of sneaking in a tax. To one the same also open salary increment 20%. No way piano more than one say piano. Exactly, we know. Yes, I am the same. No. Doc, we are the respect as someone American. Respect me saying, I buy you a kuma so add the amount, and they say we 20% on one second. But Sabana so self for Quetti Crosso, as the tax abroad will be piano will be piawaka. It didn't make choice, it didn't make example between transfer and E-level. So Abina will say, now introduce a year E-level. A idea that burden the ordinary Ghanaian, and the main creative respite, it will be Massa Ghanaian. I say I make his hand at you. Main kind of boneso. Okay, minority issues they know 5G.
So, University of Ghana, University
if I'm not going to start here, I'm not thinking about me.
Yeah, it's true.
Can I make a
court?
And I'm saying, no, can I catch an article of Jimmy McCann?
With the greatest of respect to your
what's it?
Me who coin say over the court because me my uncle.
I don't know.
And just a corner open the 5G here. The contract that contract with a lot of question marks. I
think Mr. And here's a son that is a Yubaza. I just no, he can have a segment on me here. Absolutely.
I think that you're interested in the 5G.
Absolutely. You must be.
You have suspicion.
Absolutely. I have questions. I have concerns.
So don't worry. Once it's a very important matter, it doesn't take Mehiasen or anytime there's an availability, you need to also tell us your concerns on this matter of 5G.
Absolutely.
But
not, I mean, how can you incorporate a company?
But not today, okay.
I respect where you're coming from.
Absolutely.
But you get the point.
And you have telecos. I mean, sometimes this country. Yeah, it's sad.
Me issues not, but my friend free to boot no there. You see, that decision about taking you. One year to say Nanyan him Sabi.
Respect here comes in without
Nansen Sabi. Who hears Sikadia Edia your man Nedma? Or buying Nedma. What did you free? Now they are begging my zero can I say my call for increment. What the mammy, but was I creating tax as I just get from as I don't know. Up maybe I not all over the world buying Nedma. What did you free now? Well, I mean, working in the man or Jeffrey or there's
other services are buying that okay gives a so no tax revenue that government revenue.
What part of one thing I was so creative levy?
When it does so we not the door.
Open the door. It's now creative. Fine. So when you say women pon to boot today. Reason I'm raising was even ambassadors can push on. One say a cause of traffic. Okay, pass me
amongst the reasons.
Oh, the number of what I can say a cause of traffic into them.
And yet
so
and then
amongst the reasons
into traffic
because of inefficiency
you can't with digitalization.
Why didn't you do it earlier?
me no no na ba be
no kan na any traffic was so need ano to butu so no e mu dey na traffic na fi
wa was wa congratulations ya me
kaso dey fi so kaso dey traffic na fi afiwana to bi en wesi traffic na fi kaso so enye no kre check ayi adenta to the vision do what the I was not to you esa traffic na fi wana
mo ye kwan no lawyer e ho mo ye kwan
enye na make enye kwan we yes na
I don't think kaso dey na problem ba
o say
e kwan no me o kaso ama traffic na increase
no me say when you to butu fi ho no traffic na atwamu na akọ ni bisa me ntafa wona ya watafa e kwa na baba
reasons me no lawyer
kọba ko on so timi nyano
Elbesia I think that Okada will be a problem. University of Ghana.
You have been very unfair to us. Very unfair to us.
University of Ghana School of Continuing and Distance Education, Accra Learning Sector. Effective communication skills. Evening short course. Nadia Crash. Na say AOB na odi sha say di keke bi guma. So University of Ghana School of Continuing and Distance Education say what Accra Learning Center no effective communication skills on my evening short course in English. Course description a course number discuss the fundamentals of writing, listening and oral communication skills. Emphasis will be placed on applying these skills to a broad array of situations. Organization individual impact, and so it may reduce errors in written communication, improve critical thinking, increase insights through active listening, and a deeper understanding of their audience. One of a year in church with front desk executives, professionals from corporate institutions and SMEs, marketing and sales professionals, public speakers, and commentators. Quite part of this a year in Chechra, University of Ghana School of Continuing and Distance Education, Accra Learning Center, Ede Brown. Any when it there would a non-refundable fee of 2,000 Ghana cedi into University of Ghana Accra Learning Center account number. Account number is 116113007712 GCB Bank, Boundary Road, and as any branch of GCB Bank. Registration on Monday, 17th of June 2024, Ekosiisen Friday, 5th July 2024. Program Nankase Shasye, Monday, 8th July 2024 to Friday, 26th July 2024. Ayumre, no numum pen will be a copim a year non so empire mu. Mesro, Sa and Kratua University of Ghana School of Continuing and Distance Education, Ede Bano. So, Pese, Ubusako Sambia, Nautia say ya. Numbers we anafre 0303 944 582 0303 970 282 0244 453440 and 0244 783238 and 0277 562934. Now what to me anyone a dinkita. Yakwaba Bamendo Bibiasi, so my part of the program. Meno Kasele Dr. Santi, Waikado Watrasi.